Jai Gaur Premanande.
Call Seva and tell him that he needs to quick get garbage disposal जो उसने ओपन करके रखा है किचन में और उसको क्लीन इमीडिएटली करना है क्योंकि नहीं तो होते जा रहा है तो बर्तन उसको धोना नमः विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्तारिणे शिव जय जय गौरचंदे आरती कसबा शिव जय जय गौरचंदे आरती कसबा जाहनावे टाटवने जगमनलो जाहनावे कि बदके नीताई चान बमे गरधारा कि बदके नीताई चान बमे गरधारा निकाहते अद्वैता श्रीनी वाचा चत्रधारा निकाहते अद्वैता श्रीनि वाचा चत्रधारा शिव बोसे अचेगाराचा रत्न सिंहासने आरती करे न ब्रह्मा अरे देवगाने कि बनर रे आरे करे चमर दुलाया गोसारे गाया शिव शंकर बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करतारा मधुरा मृदंग बाजे परम रसाला शंख बाजे घंट बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंट बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंख बाजे घंट बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय शिव बहु कोटि चंद्र जिने बदन ज्वाला गाला देते बना माला करे जरमाला शिव शिव सुखनारादा प्रेमे गदा गदा भाकती विनोद देखे गुरार संपादा जैसे कृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Radha Sivasadi, Gara Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Radha Sivasadi, Gara Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe.
Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe.
Jaya Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe.
Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe.
Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe.
Radha Shama Sundar, Radha Shama Sundar, Radhe.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikacharya Astashamad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikacharya Astashamad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopi Nath Shamkun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki. Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki. Gangamai Ki. Jimunamai Ki. Vindavindami Ki. Mayapur Dangbi Ki. Jagannath Puri Ki. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki. Hari Nam Sankirtan Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladaladatayine.
Praladaladatayine.
Hiranyakashipu rakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shilantakanakalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Ito nasimho parato nasimho.
Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimha.
Yato yato yamito ito nasimho.
Yato yato yamitato Narasimha.
Ahe nasimho nitaye nasimho. Narashim prapadev sharanam prapadev. Tavakala kamala vale taka aputa shinga. Dalita hiranyakashipu Taruvinga Keshavatrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nasimhadev, Jaya Nasimhadev, Jaya Nasimhadev, Jaya Nasimhadev.
Jaya Narasimhadev, Jaya Narasimhadev, Jaya Narasimhadev, Jaya Narasimhadev.
Jaya Palan Maharaj, Jaya Palan Maharaj, Jaya Palan Maharaj, Jaya Palan Maharaj. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo.
Jai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo.
Nitai Gora Haribo. Haribo, Nitai Gora Haribo.
Jai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Shri Shri Sangha Bhagavan ki jai.
Ki jai.
Shri Shri Sangha Bhagavan ki jai. Shri Bhakta Prad Maharaj ki jai. Shri Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Gaurangi. Nicely singing. So, I would humbly request everybody, please move forward. So, Maharaj is here. So, everybody can sit closer. So, little
come further ahead so that whoever is coming in the back, they can also sit properly. So everybody sit more closer to the Vyasasana. So everybody, those who are there, so everybody can sit. Those who are sitting in the back, Madajis, please come forward, sit closer. So everybody can, whoever is coming late, they can come forward. Hare Krishna.
Whatever they want to do, we can also ask them if they have some. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It's really happy to be with you. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Jai Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna, good evening everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So today we'll read from Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 8, entitled Attaining the Supreme. And today we'll read from text number 17. So Krishna is teaching Arjuna about the temporality of everything in this world. With time, everything changes. Your body changes. Your hairstyle changes. It means the hair falls out. Your relationships change. The place you live will change. The identity and the positions that you have will change. If you close your eyes and you think, fast forward 100 years, and none of us will be here. Because everything is temporary. The only constant in the material world is change. And therefore, Krishna is preparing Arjuna that if we understand deeply that everything will change, then you get some peace in your heart and mind, actually. Most people, when they think of change, they think this makes me feel very uncomfortable. But actually, when you realize everything is temporary, then it makes you feel very comfortable. It's the complete opposite. Once there was a king and he told his subjects, I want you to give me a prize, something that when I see it, if I'm sad, it will make me happy. And if I'm happy, it will make me sad. So I asked the audience once this question, and someone put his hand up and said, marriage. I said, you said it, not me. So the king said, I want you to give me something that will make me happy when I'm sad, and sad when I'm happy. So everyone was completely baffled. What can you give like that? Finally, one person came to the king. He said, I demand to see the king. I have the answer. So he came in front of the king and he gave the king a box. So the king said, this better be good. How is this going to make me happy when I'm sad and sad when I'm happy? The person said, open the box. So the king opened the box and there was a ring. So the king said, what's the meaning of this? He said, you wanted something that will make you happy when you're sad and sad when you're happy. So the king said, yes. The person said, look at what's written on the ring. And on the ring there were 4 words. This too shall pass. When you're happy, don't worry. It's going. sorry to tell you that. And when you're sad, don't worry. It's going. Matra sparshash tu konteya sitoshna sukadukada agama paino nityas tamstitikshashva bharata. These are such simple truths. But who is the wise person who has understood deeply? Everything in the material world is moving like seasons. It comes and it goes. So you can't take anything too seriously in this world. It's all temporary. One time, someone asked Srila Prabhupada, does the Guru know everything? Prabhupada said, yes. The Guru knows everything. The person looked at Prabhupada and said, how many windows in the Empire State Building? We can write a book, Imperfect Questions, Perfect Answers. So Prabhupada looked back at him with a beautiful answer. He said, how many drops of water in a mirage? What will you say? 10, 100, 1,000? It doesn't matter, because a mirage has no existence in reality. So whatever answer you give to that question doesn't really mean anything anyway, because it's all temporary. But the problem is we take this world so seriously. And my problems, and my life, and my difficulties we think is insurmountable. This too shall pass. It's all just moving like the waves in the ocean. So therefore, in this chapter, Krishna is preparing Arjuna to leave this world, attaining the Supreme, and therefore Krishna is teaching him about the temporality of this world. So I think you can repeat after me. It's not so difficult. Sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano vidu ratrim yuga sashrantam tehoratra vido jana sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano vidu ratrim yuga sahasrantam tehoratra vido jana sahasra yuga paryantam aharyad brahmano vidu ratrim yuga sahasrantam tehoratra vido jana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. So Krishna is talking about the duration of the material world. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day. And such also is the duration of Brahma's night. Purport. The duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma constitutes of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion. There being practically no ignorance and vice, and the yuga lasts 1,728,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced, and this yuga lasts 1,296,000 years. In the Dwapara Yuga, there is even greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing, and this yuga lasts 864,000 years. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non-existent, and this yuga lasts 432,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki Avatar, vanquishes the demons, saves the devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These 4 yugas, rotating 1,000 times, comprise one day of Brahma, and the same number comprise one night. Brahma lives 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by earth calculations of Brahma seem fantastic and interminable, but by earth calculations total to 311 trillion and 40 billion earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable, but from the point of view of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. In the causal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. Srila Prabhupada ki. So this is a little bit of maths for everyone. Everything in the material world is moving in cycles, isn't it? The days of the week move in cycles. The seasons are moving in cycles. The sun is moving in a cycle. Even our lives are also moving in a cycle. Mrityu samsara vartmani, Krishna says. Everything is going on in a cycle, round and round. And similarly, there is a cosmic cycle. Satya, Treta, Dvapara, Kali. 4 of these cycles together are known as a Divya Yuga. 72 Divya Yugas equal to 1 Manvantara. 14 Manvantaras equal to 1 day of Brahma. 360 days and nights of Brahma equal 1 year of Brahma's life. And Brahmaji lives for 100 such years. And Brahmaji's 100 years is just like a flash for Mahavishnu. So, this is the situation. We are thinking, we are here in this world, our life is so important and everything that's happening to me. But what is it? It's all less than a minute, infinitesimal, insignificant flash in reality. Currently, the Vedic scholars tell us we are in the 51st year of Brahma's life. Our Brahma, Chaturmukh Brahma, he is now 51 years old. And we are in the New Year's Day of Brahmaji's 51st year. We're in the first day of Brahmaji's 51st year. And in that day of Brahma, remember, Kalpa has 14 Manus. We are in the Manu which is right in the middle, the Vaivashvata Manu. And in that Manu, remember, every Manvantara has 72 Divya Yugs. So we are in the 28th Divya Yug of the 7th Manu, in the first day of Brahma's 51st year. And in that 28th Divya Yug, Satya, Treta, Dvapara has passed. And now we are in 5,000 years into Kali Yuga. So this is where we are. Just in case you're wondering what the time is. What time is it? That's the time. No, what time is it? This is the time. This is actually the real time. So in the ancient scriptures, so much is spoken about in terms of creation. Isn't it? Sometimes you look up at the stars at night and we wonder. Prabhupada writes in Bhagavatam, when an intelligent person looks up at the stars at night, they must think, where did this all come from? Why are we even here? So much of the scripture is to do with creation. Atra sargo visargascha stanam poshanamutaya manvantare shanukatha nirodha muktirashraya. In any Purana, the first two topics are known as Sarga and Visarga. Sarga means elemental creation. Where do all the elements of the universe come from? That's Mahavishnu. And then secondary creation, Visarga, once all the elements are there, who is the engineer of the universe? Brahmaji. Therefore, sometimes we say Brahma is the creator. Actually, no. Brahma is not the creator. Brahma is the engineer. Brahma didn't create anything. What Brahmaji did is he took the pradhan, or the material elements that were manifested from Mahavishnu, and he engineered those into 14 planetary systems, into 8.4 million species of life, and Brahma expertly created all the variety of this material world. Isn't it fantastic? From the tiniest creature to the biggest creature, all expertly engineered by Brahmaji. And even after he did an amazing job, the gopis came to him and criticized him and said, you made a big mistake. What a big mistake. 14 planetary systems, 8.4 million species of life, perfect ecosystem. What do you mean I made a mistake? They said, because you created eyes which have eyelids. And those eyelids blink for a moment, and when they blink, it means we can't see Krishna. Therefore, you made a big blunder. You should be sacked. Really? So don't worry. In this world, definitely you will be criticized whatever you do. Of course, this was very transcendental. So Brahma creates all of this. And why is all of this knowledge of creation important to us? You may say, I'm sitting here, come on, like tell me something relevant for my life. How is all of this relevant to me? This is very, very relevant because when we hear about how vast the creation is, then three things happen within us. First thing is we realize, my God, Krishna is so great. Krishna is so big. Krishna is so incredible. And Krishna actually is so kind. Because Krishna creates this whole complicated system as a means for us to come back to our original consciousness. So hearing about creation makes us appreciate how amazing Krishna is. But the other thing that hearing creation does is it makes us realize how small we are. When I was a kid, I always liked to go to the ocean. Couldn't swim. But the reason I liked going in front of the ocean was because when I would sit in front of the ocean, then all of my problems, which I thought were so big, seemed in the vastness of the ocean to just be so insignificant. Who am I? Just a drop in the ocean. I take myself so serious. So when we hear about this creation, we realize, I'm very small. Why do I get so worked up about my life? I'm just a small soul. And the third thing which creation and narratives of the creation does is it gives us faith. Oh yes, there is an explanation of where the world came from, why we're here. There is an alternative to scientific theory, the Big Bang. No, it wasn't random. It was very, very purposeful. See, nowadays people say the whole universe came from the Big Bang. All matter was concentrated at a single point in the universe, at an infinite temperature, infinite density. From that single point, everything blew up. And there was a big bang. And from there, galaxies and universes came about. And eventually, there was life from chemicals, and single-celled organisms developed into more complicated beings before we ended up here. So if you believe in the Big Bang, it's a problem from the beginning, the middle to the end. The problem in the beginning is, where did all of that matter come from in the first place? So the scientists will say, no, just forget about that question. Let's just start from that point, that everything was, no, but where did it all come from? That's the main question. That science cannot tell you. So it's a problem in the beginning. Because where did all the matter come from in the first place? No scientist, not one scientist can tell you. Second thing is, it's a problem in the middle, because how did the bang take place? Do things just blow up randomly? No, there's always some arrangement which is making something happen. So it's a problem in the middle. And then it's a problem in the end, because where in our experience does such order and design and such cosmic subtlety in our surroundings come from a random bomb, from a random bang? It's like saying, imagine we filled this room up with ink, and then we detonated this room and it all blew up, and then a beautiful book was produced from that ink, which had poetic words and which made sense. Well, it came about by chance. After all, there was ink here and there was a bang, so it's not, it could have come about. Yeah, it could have. So the Big Bang is a problem from beginning, middle to the end. Therefore, there's the famous story of Newton. And his friend came, because he had made a model of the universe, isn't it? And it had pulleys so that one planet was going around the other planet, and when you would move it, it would simulate the whole universe. And one of his scientific friends came to him and said, wow, this is an amazing model. Who made it? And he said, no one. It came about by chance. So the person said, no, don't be silly, Tell me who made this model. This is so realistic. It's just like the universe. Everything is in place. Who engineered this model? Newton said, no, just came about by chance. They refused to believe it. Newton said, you've refused to believe that this model came about by chance. Yet you believe the actual universe, which is infinitely more complex, you believe that came about by chance. So scientists, they analyze, and then they forget the most basic point. There's a story that Sherlock Holmes and Watson, once they were camping. So in the middle of the night, they were sleeping next to each other. In the middle of the night, they looked up. So Sherlock said to Watson, what do you see? So Watson said, I see so many stars in the sky. This means astronomically there are many stars and galaxies. Sherlock said, what else do you see? Watson said, I'm looking at the sky and I'm looking at the clouds, and horologically I'm seeing that tomorrow will be a very overcast day. Sherlock looked at Watson and said, what else do you see? He said, I'm seeing that this planet is in this constellation, and astrologically these are the influences that are taking place. Watson looked at Sherlock. He said, what do you see? Sherlock said, I see that somebody has stolen our tent. So, it's amazing. People analyze, and then they miss the most fundamental point, the most obvious thing. That how can this world come about by chance? It makes no sense whatsoever. And therefore, every time we look at this universe, it's an opportunity to remember Krishna. When you walk out today and you see the stars in the sky, you have to remember 100 years of Brahma, 14 Manus, 72 Divya Yugs, all of this, all Krishna's arrangements. And so, Bhagavad Gita is systematically training us to understand reality. If we can appreciate and see God in every part of the existence, you see, like when you come to the temple, then when you drive into the car park, you see people's cars, isn't it? If you can get into the car park, we couldn't get in today. But when you come into the car park, then what happens? You see people's cars, no? And as soon as you see their car, what happens? You remember that person. Oh, that person's here. Oh, that person's here. Simply by seeing the car, immediately it triggers your remembrance of that person. So similarly, the devotee, Yo mam pasyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pasyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachame na pranashyati. Krishna says, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So if one trains their vision through this knowledge of the Gita, then one can see Krishna every step. One will see the beauty of everything comes from Krishna. Yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimad urjitameva va tattadeva vagachatvam mamatejam sasambhavam. Whenever you see something beautiful in this world, a sunset, a beautiful river, a flower, a child with innocence, someone who has great ability, all of that you can remember Krishna. One time Srila Prabhupada was in the airport with one brahmachari and a stewardess walked past, and Prabhupada looked at the brahmachari and said, beautiful, isn't she? So he wasn't sure how to respond. Is it a test? I don't know, you know. Shall I say yes? I don't know. But then if I say no, I'm disagreeing. So he was completely bewildered. So Prabhupada looked at him and said, she is beautiful. But if she's that beautiful, imagine how beautiful Krishna is who created her. See? Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitameva vaha. So therefore, a devotee, whenever they see any beauty, Prabhupada once he picked up a flower and he said, simply by studying this flower, you can become Krishna conscious. Because everything is coming from Krishna, all the beauty. So like this, by grasping and absorbing the knowledge of the Gita, we can actually become Krishna conscious. And remember, this too shall pass. Your problems will pass. This stage of your life will pass. Everyone around you will pass. You will pass. And this whole world will pass. Everything passes. Because in the course of time, nothing remains. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhava vidyate sata. Of the eternal, there is no cessation, and of the temporary, there is no endurance. And therefore, someone who gives up the eternal for the temporary loses everything. And someone who gives up the temporary for the eternal loses nothing. Understand? One who gives up the eternal for the temporary, they lose everything. Because all the temporary things you get, that you sacrifice the spiritual things for, all of those things are going to disappear, and you lose the spiritual things at the same time. So if you give up the eternal for the temporary, you lose everything. But if you give up the temporary for the eternal, you lose nothing. Because you get the eternal, and the temporary which you seemingly give up, anyway you are going to lose that. So you lose nothing. And therefore, if one is wise, one will, at the end of the day, ask themselves, what did I do today to invest in my eternal bank balance? Not your temporary bank balance. What did I do today to invest in my eternal bank balance? Because everything else, Krishna says, is going to eventually, like castles in the sand, everything will be washed away by the waves of time. So therefore, let us not spend our whole life building castles in the sand. Rather, let us build a home in the eternal world with Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much. So, how are we doing for time? Should we have time for questions? Yes, we have some time. If anyone would like to ask. Is there a mic, or do you want to shout and then, oh, Prabhu's getting a mic. Maybe you can just shout, whoever it is, until the mic comes. Okay, the mic's there. Okay, fine. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much for the wonderful, sweet class. I wanted to just mention that 2 weeks ago in our Sunday school, we talked from your book, Gita 3, can't see God anywhere, can see God everywhere. So I'm not sure if the students also thought that that was relevant to what we were talking about. I had a question. regarding, you had mentioned at the very end, like, this will all pass. Like, this day will pass, this too shall pass, the people around you will pass, you will pass. And I feel like, at least from my point of view, that is a very spiritual way of thinking of things, but it can also be very negative. It can pull you down into, like, if you think too much about it, if I'm going to pass and everyone around me passes, then does all of this even matter? Like, do my actions matter? Does what I do matter? And it can really pull one down. So how do you take this apparently negative spiritual teaching and turn it into a positive, actionable spiritual teaching?
Thank you so much. Very good question. So it's all going to pass. It's all temporary. It's all ethereal. It's all like phantasmagoria. So why are we doing anything? Why go to work? Why take care of your kids? Why do anything at all? Because it's all just temporary. It's temporary, but it's also an opportunity to serve. It's also an opportunity to experience the beauty of divinity in your life. Yes, your positions in this world are temporary, for sure. They're all going to be taken away. But while you have them, you have the great opportunity to use them as an opportunity to connect with Krishna in a relationship of love. Yes, all your relationships are going to be taken away. I'm sitting on the Vyasasana, and I'm not saying this as a deep spiritual statement. History shows no one makes it out of this world alive. It's a fact. So why are you running away from it? Why are you hiding? Why are you trying to pretend like it's not going to happen? Let's talk about it. But that everyone is going to leave doesn't mean you can't have beautiful relationships and serve each other in relation to Krishna while you're here in this world. So that everything is temporary. Not only does that not mean that, we're dysfunctional, but actually we become the most interested, because we realize I only have it for a temporary amount of time. See, if you think everything is temporary, someone may say that means I'm uninterested in it. But I could tell you that if you know it's temporary, you could see it in the other way. That while I have it, let me utilize it for something useful. And that way, the temporary nature of the world, the temporary duration of your life, the temporary situations that you've been given, you use them with urgency, with priority to do something beautiful with them. So therefore, the great devotees are meditating on their death. And by meditating on the temporality of their life, they wake up in the morning and they realize, I don't have any time to waste. I have to utilize my time for something useful, because time is running out. There's a clock up there with our name on it, and that clock is ticking. This body is a ticking time bomb. It's counting down. And knowing that temporality helps us to utilize this in the most significant way. So that something is temporary doesn't mean it's meaningless. That's Mayavad. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. No. We don't say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Brahma Satyam and Jagat is temporary, is asat. But it can still be utilized in connection with Krishna. And so, in that way, it's not negative. It's actually the most positive. All right. I see many hands. Nice to see you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So nice to hear from you. So in my work and in my own little preaching endeavors, I come across a lot of disbelievers and people who claim to be scientists or they are scientists, and they say, what is the scientific proof of what you are speaking about? How would you answer that question? Because I'd love to really hear from you and imbibe that and answer it in my own way. Thank you.
The Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual science. It's not just Krishna asking for faith. And what does science mean? There's a hypothesis, there's an experiment, and there's a conclusion. So the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. So if you want the proof, then undertake the experiment. The hypothesis is that you're a spiritual being. There's a supreme spirit, and you have the opportunity to connect with a supreme spirit and experience unending, eternal happiness and love. The experiment is chant Hare Krishna. And the observation is that you'll see yourself experiencing an unparalleled level of satisfaction and happiness. So you can't ask for the proof before conducting the experiment. That, my dear friend, is not scientific. And therefore, if someone says, prove it to me, and then I'll believe it, then you go back to them and say, but that's not how you do science. Because if every scientist said, I'm not going to do this experiment until I get the proof, then they'd never get the proof to prove anything. And science, therefore, would not move forward. Therefore, science also has faith. Otherwise, without faith, you can't move forward. But science, they will never call it faith. If we call out a scientist and say, you have faith, they will say, no, we don't have faith. We believe in an axiomatic truth. They say an axiomatic truth. Proved. We believe it as an axiomatic truth, and then we'll continue on with our investigation, and then we'll prove it to be true later on, which is basically faith. So you tell them, we also have axiomatic truths, and you become a spiritual scientist, and then Rajaguyam Pavitram Idamu Susukam Kartumavyayam. Krishna be able to see it. Sorry, this mic is going. Maybe it's Krishna's sign, like, you need to stop speaking. All right, I don't know how we're doing. Shall I keep that mic? I think you just shout and then I'll repeat it. You shout and then I'll repeat it. This is not a relevant topic.
Okay.
That's a good
But,
way to
what does the SB in your name stand for?
Okay, what does the SB in my name stand for? Okay. So the SB in my name stands for Swayam Bhagavan. Do you want me to explain? Thank you for giving me an opportunity to clarify. So sometimes people may think, who is this guy, this 6'5" saffron guy walking around with a stick, calling himself Swayam Bhagavan? This guy needs a reality check. So this name in no way, shape or form is referring to anything about my own insignificant identity. But my spiritual teacher gave me this name and said you should travel the world and establish that Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan. So SB, but nowadays I just say SB because it's too long to explain that to everyone. So Swayam Bhagavan Keshava. Keshava is a name of Krishna, isn't it? We sing Keshava Dhrita Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So in that song, it's being explained that of all the avatars, they're all originating from Keshava. So Keshava is the Swayam Bhagavan. So Swayam Bhagavan Keshava, like that. We are trying, insignificant as we are, to travel around the world and remind people there is a God. And that God is Keshava. And that Keshava is the Swayam Bhagavan. And if you connect with him, then you will be supremely joyful. Is that okay? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the nice class, Maharaj. Maharaj, I wonder that our temple preaching, we focus on chanting, we hear Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and all. But many times I feel as a devotee, we forget that we also have to be a good human being. So sometimes we can see that even though we have, maybe we are devotee or a senior devotee, we may still not be a very good human being in terms of the qualities like we have the anger issues or ego or maybe lust. So what message do you want to give, like in addition to this practice, what we do, what quality we should focus more on?
Yes, so sometimes, it's okay. So sometimes we may see that someone is practicing Krishna consciousness, but they don't seem to necessarily have the best human qualities. Sometimes we may even say people out there, they seem to be nicer than the Hare Krishnas, more kind, they smile more, they're tolerant. Sometimes I come here and I perceive that these people are very spiritual. They chant many, many rounds. They know many, many shlokas. But on a human level, they lack good character. We may perceive like that. So first thing is, yes, to be Krishna conscious doesn't mean simply to do spiritual activity, but it means we actually have to become people of good character. Krishna explains, who is a sadhu? Titikshava karunika surida sarvedehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhubhushana. Who is actually a sadhu? Who is a saintly person? Titikshava, incredibly tolerant. Karunika, extremely compassionate. Surida sarvadehinam, friendly to everyone. Ajata, shatrava, shanta, no enemies. Sadhava, sadhubhushana, these are the ornaments which beautify a devotee. So yes, it's not enough to say, I chant many rounds. It's not enough to say, I've been coming to the temple for years. It's not enough to say, I know all the shlokas or I know all the philosophy. But what is the content of our character? That speaks volumes. However, we should also realize that the devotees, even if sometimes they seem to be lacking in human qualities, they are still in a better position. Because yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinjana sarver gunestatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuton mahan guna madhurathena sati dhavato bahi. The Bhagavatam explains that one who engages in the bhakti of the Lord, sarve gunestatra samasate suraha, eventually what will happen is all good qualities will arise within that being. But someone out there, if they don't have spiritual connection, then even though they may seem to be tolerant, they may seem to be compassionate, at some point that quality will break down because it's not founded upon spiritual substance. Yeah. What are the deities there? Radha Shyama Sundara ki. Sorry, many temples. Does it make sense? Thank you. Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. You got the mic.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
We talked a lot about faith in today's class. Our Sunday school has also been talking about faith. My question is, for someone who is practicing all the different things, such as chanting, doing kirtan, doing service in the temple, what if they don't feel the connection to Krishna still, right? How can we tell them to keep having faith? If you could break that down a little bit.
I don't think we can convince, like, we can tell someone you have to have faith. Faith is something which is very much within one's heart, and that's very much an individual choice. But what we can share with them is that even if you feel you're not experiencing what it's supposed to happen or what it tells you on the label you should be experiencing, there are a few things. Number one, are you experiencing something? You may not be experiencing everything, but are you experiencing something? Then if you've experienced something, then you can experience more. So that's the first thing. And usually everyone has experienced something. The second thing is that when we are lacking in experience ourselves, then we can look towards others who are experiencing. And then we can say, yeah, maybe it's not working for me, but here I see an example of someone in whom Krishna consciousness really seems to be working. So maybe if I also follow as diligently as them, maybe it's possible for me as well. So like this, even when we're not experiencing, we can take hope in these two ways. Is that okay? I'll just go to the ladies' side because otherwise... Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for a wonderful class. So I had a question related to something you spoke at Princeton. I was at that program. And you had mentioned the dharma of a soul is to love. You know, we all are souls, but I don't feel love all the time towards everyone. You know, there are times when I'm irritated, I get annoyed, and, you know, all the different emotions I go through. So how do I live in that consciousness where I always feel love towards everyone?
Thank you so much. Once there was one Mataji, she had just got married. So she came with a newly married husband in front of Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada looked at her and said, who do you love more, Krishna or your husband? We won't ask you the question. So she was completely bewildered. So she was thinking, do I love Krishna more or do I love my husband more? And then she began crying and she said, Prabhupada, I don't love any of them. We want to love, but love is not cheap. Nowadays we use the word love so cheaply. I love orange juice, I love that movie, I love to play cricket. Love, love, love. Love is very deep. Love means selflessness. Love means sacrifice. Love means a complete surrender of oneself to the object of love. So love is like a flower. It's not that you have it or you don't have it. It's just that it's unfolding and blossoming to different degrees. So therefore, right now we are impoverished in love. Kaviraj Goswami says, Prema dhana vinavyartha daridra jivan dasa kori vetan more deha prema dhan. Kaviraj Goswami says, Prema dhana vinavyartha. If I don't have the wealth of love, daridra jivan, then I must be considered a very, very poor soul. Dasa kori, therefore Krishna, make me your servant. Vetan more, and I only want one salary. Deha prema dhan. Please awaken some love in my heart. So, it's not that you have love or you don't have love. But for some of us, it's like this. And for some of us, it's opening up. And for some of us, it's blossoming. And when it blossoms, then the color, then the fragrance is very, very enchanting. So if you want to learn how to love, then you have to make sacrifice. If you want to learn how to love, then you have to be selfless. If you want to learn how to love, then you have to serve. Otherwise, what does love mean? It's just a word. Everyone talks about love. Dil se. So it's not cheap. The gopis, they sacrificed everything for Krishna. Napadayeham niravadya samyujam swasadu krityam vibudayusha piva. They put everything on the line. They put their security on the line. They put their reputation on the line. They put their personal safety on the line. They put all their relationships on the line. And when Krishna played his flute, they just ran. Fearless, fully available. Therefore Krishna said, I can't repay you. You've conquered me. So if you want to conquer Krishna, then go to Krishna with no agenda. See, the whole world is coming to Krishna with an agenda. And if you come in front of Krishna and you say, Krishna, I love you. And Krishna says, what do you want? And you say, nothing. Krishna's like, no, what do you want? Nothing. Nothing? Nothing. Then Krishna gets confused. Like, what do I do now? I'm supposed to give you something, but what do you want? Nothing. Then Krishna gets confused. Then he has to give himself. So, that's love. So, we have the opportunity every day. What do you want to... It's like what I said, the same thing what I said in the class. When we go to bed at night, the most pressing question to ask is, what did I do today to invest into my eternal bank account? When all is said and done, that's what will remain. All right. Okay. I mean, I'm good. You just tell me when we're okay? All right.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the class. On the similar lines as we learned today, temporality of the body, of everything material. So I had two-part question. How can one learn lessons from their life where we go through overwhelming experiences? And the second part is, how do you constantly plant the seed of clarity in your consciousness, knowing that even though you are not learning lessons, but you're trying to, how do you do that? Plus, how do you plant the seed of clarity?
See, every day Krishna is speaking to you. Krishna is speaking to you through Shastra. Krishna is speaking to you through lectures. Krishna is speaking to you through devotees. Krishna is speaking to you through all the arrangements of this world and the experiences. Krishna is shouting all the time. He's telling us so many things. But we're not listening. So we have to open our ears. We have to open our heart. Someone said to me like, yeah, but it was easy for Arjun. Krishna was next to him. Krishna was right next to him, telling him what to do. What about us? It's so hard. I said, my friend, Krishna's right next to you as well. He's right there in your heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridaya arjuna tistati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. You say, yeah, okay, it sounds all nice, but I can't hear him. You just have to open your heart. Krishna is ready to tell you everything, but we don't want to hear. So, how do you hear Krishna? Spend time with Shastra. Hear Krishna Katha. Speak to the devotees. Sometimes even if you speak to the non-devotees, even Krishna will speak through them. Once I was going to the mechanic to fix the car, so I picked up my phone. In UK, it's illegal to pick up your phone while driving. So I picked up the phone. Anyway, there's a police car behind me. So then he told me to pull over. So then he knocked on the window. He said, roll it down. Step out of the car. So I came out of the car. As soon as I came out, I was like this, 6'5", saffron. So he was immediately like, my God, what planet did this guy come from, you know? So then he looked at me, he said, you picked up the phone while you were driving. I said, no, I didn't pick up the phone. I was just canceling. He said, you picked up the phone. I said, no, we're monks. He said, I know, you picked up the phone. So I was saying, no. He said, we have got photographic evidence. And then he looked at me and he said, Mr. Monk, the truth shall set you free. And then I looked at him, I said, yo, you're stealing my lines, you know, I'm supposed to be telling that to you. He said, the truth shall set you free. I said, okay. I mean, I shouldn't have done it, I'm sorry. He said, don't worry, I like you guys. You're good people. Just don't pick up the phone while you're driving. So on that day, Krishna came. Krishna comes to give us messages. Recently, I was at Heathrow Airport. So the flight was delayed. So I did something that I never did before. I went to the prayer room. You know, they have a communal prayer room. So I went to the prayer room. There was some Muslim family doing namaz. So I went to the next part, and then I sat on a bench. So I was sitting on the bench like this, like chanting, like Hare Krishna, attentive chanting. And while my eyes were closed, I heard footsteps. I knew someone had entered the room. But because I was chanting, I was like, no, I'm not going to open my eyes. I'll pretend. Attentive. So I carried on chanting, and then the footsteps were coming closer, and I was just thinking like, who is that? Hare Krishna, who is that? Anyway, finally, I could see there was someone in front of me, so I opened my eyes, and there were two police people with machine guns. So I was like, and then they just looked at me and they said, are you praying? I looked at them, I said, I don't know, but I definitely am now. So it was very interesting because they were like, are you praying? I mean, come on, look at me. I mean, I'm in the prayer room, I'm in robes, I'm a monk, I'm cross-legged, I'm chanting on beads, I got my eyes closed for goodness sake. But I realized it was Krishna coming and saying, all of that doesn't matter. Are you praying? Are you really present in what you're doing? So they looked at me, they said, are you praying? I said, yes. And then they just walked off and they turned around and they looked at me and they said, this room is for praying. I said like, Hare Krishna. It's like the Vishnu Dutas or the Yama Dutas, I'm not sure, but definitely some Dutas from somewhere, messengers. So like this, Krishna is speaking to you. Krishna is speaking to you. Open your heart, open your mind. Everything will become clear. Anyway, some thoughts. All right. You want to ask a question? Okay. Sorry. What to do?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Maharaj. So, my question is that we discussed about car, Heathrow Airport, some human creatures and all, right? These are basically manufactured by humans. Car, we are in the cars. So sometimes me and my...
No, I think the battery is running out.
So sometimes we discuss the things, and he always trying to convey the message to me. He always puts his logic saying that God can't say you to chant every day for 16 times or this. Then he puts the logic saying human beings have created the car. The car that we have, like human manufactured, if car stops at the road and starts chanting about your name, I mean, because that is created by human, so it's rather than doing his own work, he stops and he starts chanting your name, then you won't feel good, right? I mean, that the responsibility has been given the car, and he has manufactured similar way. The humans has been given the responsibilities by God, and everybody has to do their own job and responsibility rather than chanting the God. And it's a very contradictory. But at this point, I am not able to answer him.
Okay, so
I am
let
not
me
able
just
to
understand this argument. It's a very creative argument. Okay, so as he's saying that God created us,
with some responsibility.
and now we have God created us with responsibilities, and now we're inventing that you have to chant and all of these things. So that's just as crazy as us creating a car and then the car at some point stopping and chanting and not driving anywhere. Okay. So the first major difference between us creating a car and God creating us is that us creating a car is to create something inanimate. When Krishna creates inanimate things in this world, like mountains or whatever it is, then Krishna doesn't expect them to chant 16 rounds. But when Krishna creates conscious living beings, then Krishna is saying you have an opportunity for love. If you serve me, I'll serve you. And if we serve each other selflessly, then we'll have beautiful relationships of love. So now you go back to that person and you say, do you have children? And if he says yes, ask him, do you tell them to do anything? Yes. Why do you tell them to do something? Let them get on with their own life. But no, you will tell them to do something. They came from you, and therefore you want to engage in relationships of love with them, and you want them to experience joy. Therefore, as a parent, of course you're going to tell your children to do things. Which parent in this world says, now my child is born, just let them do what they want to do? No one will do that. So similarly, Krishna creates us. And then he says, chant 16 rounds. Not just because he wants to take 2 hours of our day where we could be doing something better. But because Krishna says, if you spend that time, then you will awaken love in your heart. And when you experience that love, then you'll experience the true beauty and joy of life. Why don't you do it? Try it and see what happens. We tried everything else in this world for happiness, and it all amounted to not that much. So, why don't you give it a try? See what happens. So, if that person comes and tells you that the car isn't chanting 16 rounds, it's not a very good argument. Because just go back to that person and say, why do you tell your children to do stuff? Because you love them. Does it make sense? Yes.
I talk to a lot of Muslims, sometimes in Pakistan also. And how do we explain these things to Muslims who are practically brainwashed that, Krishna is false and anything who is not Allah is bad, we'll kill them, and, the Muslim imams make speeches about killing, rapes and whatnot. So how do we even approach them, and how do we try and explain that, number one, we are sensible and there are reasons why they should think about what we are doing very sanely and seriously?
The first thing is, whether it's a Muslim, an atheist, or whatever they may be, firstly, you only open a dialogue with someone who's open-minded. They say, don't argue with an irrational person. They will bring you down to their level and then they'll defeat you with experience. So, first rule of debating is debate with someone who's open-minded. Debate with someone who's actually interested in advancing their understanding. Otherwise, you might find yourself hitting your head on a brick wall. First point. Second point is that actually, if you look within all the world religions, there is a unity of the message. Here we are talking about Islam. And even within the Islamic tradition, there are beautiful stories that we can learn from. There's one Sufi saint lady, and once she came out of her home with 2 buckets. And one bucket was full of fire, and the other bucket had water in it. So someone said, "What are you doing?" And she said, "I want to teach the world that the purpose of life," no, she said, "what I'm going to do with the fire is I'm going to burn up the heavens. And with the water, I'm going to burn up the flames of hell. I'm going to extinguish the flames of hell." So someone said, "Why?" She said, "Because I want to teach the world that the goal of religion is not to experience material enjoyment in heaven, and it's not to experience the release of fear of being in hell. I want to teach people that the purpose of religion is to love God in the here and now." Very beautiful. So we don't need to say one religion is bad, one religion is good, these people are fanatical, these people. In every religion, you will find all kinds of people. So, first point is find someone who's open-minded. Second point is show that actually we're not that different from each other. There are many points on which we agree. And then the third point is that we can explain to them that yes, within other evolved systems of theology, there are truths about God which they may not have grasped. If they're open, you can have a dialogue. So what can we do? We live in a world in which there's so much religious intolerance. But the best way to ensure that Sanatan Dharma remains in the world vibrant is by becoming a real practitioner yourself. That speaks volumes. All right? All right, I think we can finish here. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Yeah. Haribol. Thank you very much. We also like to thank His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj for coming here and enlivening us with this wonderful class. He has been enlightening during his week. I was seeing his schedule. On one day he was in Rutgers College, and more than 300, 400 students, and then Princeton University, and then Google, and so many different places. Even before coming to the temple, he went to a place for an invocation. So we're very fortunate to have him here. And it opens up that we can line up all the corporate and college programs for next year, or we can invite him more often here so that when he comes to all these programs, we get a chance that we get his association here at the temple. Right. So let's thank him with a loud Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Today's Sunday feast is sponsored by a few families. One is Deven Soni Prabhu and family for his son's birthday. Son's name is Darsh Soni. Please come forward. And also Vanna Nayak Mataji and family for her father Dinanath Nayak and father-in-law Manubhai Nayak. So please, if they are also here, please come forward. All right, okay. Also, we'll have Raj Prabhu here. Raj Prabhu. He can introduce the books first, and then we'll cut the cake so that it doesn't.
Hare Krishna. So, as many of you know, we've been traveling with Maharaj for quite some time around America. And this is actually Maharaj's last program. And we do have some of Maharaj's books. We are running a bit low with some of them. So it is a case of first come, first serve for those of us who'd like some. But as Madhupati Prabhu mentioned, Maharaj has had a really hectic but incredible schedule over the last month. He's spoken at so many prestigious places such as Apple headquarters, Microsoft headquarters, Princeton, Rutgers, etc. So it's been incredible to see how many people really want Maharaj's books and really want to engage with his wisdom. So the 4 books that we have with us today are Gita Life, which is an acronym summary of a Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj covers all 18 chapters with an acronym for each chapter, and each of the letters of the acronym cover the main themes. So for those of you who maybe want to study or understand the Gita a bit more deeply, this can really help complement Prabhupada's Gita. We also have, maybe take the top one. Thank you. We also have Gita Free. Gita Free is a life guide. It's got many experiments, meditations, and hacks which can help you navigate through life and really improve your character, your sadhana, and everything in your spiritual life. So it's incredible in that sense, and it's very real and practical as well. Thank you. We also have Tattva. If you don't already follow Maharaj online and his blog, please follow it. It's also called Tattva. It's a free blog which Maharaj posts on every couple of weeks, sharing his thoughts and realizations as he travels the world. And so this book in itself, so many of us had questions today. I could see even at the end of the talk, many of us still had questions remaining. And as Maharaj travels the world, he gets asked so many questions about life, spirituality, etc. And this book is a compilation of some of those most frequently asked questions. So those of us who either have questions ourselves or are trying to explain our philosophy to people of other faiths, people who may be new to it, this book is excellent for that because it helps really simplify and make relevant a lot of the points in our scriptures. So this book's good for that. And last but not least, we have Book Bhagavat. Maharaj has compiled and summarized all 12 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam in this book. There's acronyms, there's diagrams, there's stories, everything done really, really simply. So this book is great if you would like an overview of Bhagavatam. So we have these 4 books available. Like I said, some of them are very close to running out. I think we only have 2 or 3 copies of some of them. So after the cake cutting, if you'd like to come up and we'll take card payments if you'd like any of them. They are for 25, 14, 11, and 12.50 in terms of pricing. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Also, today's feast is sponsored by Sushil Prabhu and family for his mother's, in memory of his mother. Please come. So let's thank all the sponsors of the lounge. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. We just have a small cake cutting. Take it. Hare Krishna to you.